everyone. Nikki here at the Truck Boss Show. We are joined by our new friend Todd McCann, a driver, an author of Trucker Dump podcast and blog, as well as some ebooks. Thanks for joining us today, Todd.
Thanks for having me, Nikki. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Today we're going to talk about relationships on the road. I know that you have been married for about 25 years, and 9 of those years, your better half was on the road with you in the cab. Can you talk a little bit about that adventure and maybe how you both stayed sane?
Yeah, yeah. When I decided to get into trucking, I was talking to a bunch of truckers when I worked out on the docks, and when I told them I was planning on going on the road with my wife as my team driver, they were like, "Oh, dude," they were like, "Oh boy, if you can last 6 months in a truck with your wife, you'll be married to her for the rest of your life." And I see what they mean now. I really do. But, my wife I call her the evil overlord, by the way. So if I go through, if I call her that, you'll know why. And she is very accepting of that because she knows it's true. We started out together. She went to school first, and then I went afterwards. And she went first because she wasn't sure she'd be able to do it. But trust me, women, if you want to learn to drive a truck, you can do it. So anyway, yeah, we were together 9 years over the road. I did wake up with a pillow on my face once, so she's just like, no, she likes to say she just learned to slam the sleeper curtain very hard since there's no doors to slam. It is very challenging to be in a truck with anybody for that long, and it's 24/7. You'd be on, like I was on the road with her for 3 weeks at a time. And that's a long time to be in the truck together. And I think it's very important that you figure out what your limit is. We figured out any more than 3 weeks and we were just going to kill each other. you know, We've always worked together. We've had other jobs together, but there's something different about being crammed in that little bitty space for 3 weeks at a time or longer, some of these drivers. And it's very important that you have a sense of humor and you don't hold a grudge. That's very important. I like to say that that saying, what's that old saying? Don't go to bed angry, Oh, that's a crock of crap. You can't do that on the road. You really can't, because you just have to realize that there are times when you're both stressed because of the situation you're in, or you're just both tired of looking at each other because you're the only. Yes, you're at your limits and you just are irritated with each other, and you just have to let it go at the end of the night. And then usually the next day, everything's fine and dandy. You haven't seen that person for another 11 hours while they're driving, You both had time to cool down, and then you just act like nothing happened at all. We're just the perfect happy couple.
So that's the secret, be in denial.
That's right. Yeah. Fake it till you make it. Yeah. No. We have a really great relationship, and I think that is very important. I don't think you would want to do this as a newlywed couple. I just really don't. I think you've got to get used to each other.
You have to be pretty established before you take that step.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do it with anybody that you weren't, super comfortable with. That's why it's so hard for me to see all this training going on, when they take two guys, both brand new drivers, they don't know each other, and then they stick them in a truck for like 6 weeks together. And it's like, that's a disaster. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. And divorce in the trucking industry is extremely high. I would love to see some stats on that. I really would, because I would bet it would be like 75% of drivers.
Oh, without a doubt. It's very high.
Yeah, and part of that is, the team didn't quite work out. Others, it's just that it's hard to have a long distance relationship, basically. My wife was with me for 9 years. These other 13 years I've been out here has been by myself. And so that's a challenge too, like, a lot of drivers are like, oh, woe is me. I have to drive 11 hours a day. Poor me, Well, Think about what your spouse is going through back home. If you got if you got kids, they're the one that's got to pack the lunches and get them off to school every day. All I got to do is wake up, brush my teeth and hit the road, listen to podcasts all day or something, listen to music. She's got all the errands to do. If the water heater blows up at home, who's got to fix it? Well, I'm not there to fix it. So, she's got to deal with it. And I think it's important we just put ourselves as truckers in the position of the person who is home. When we come home from the road, we just want to sit around the house. We just want to be home. But she or the spouse, whoever, has been at home that whole time. All they want to do is get out, take me out to eat, let's go someplace. And you really don't want to, but you have to force yourself to. Because let's be honest, trucking is hard, but it's way harder to run a family by yourself. So I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. Just put that other person first.
So communication and compromise.
Yeah, I don't like compromise, but I'll do it if I have to.
Sometimes it's just you have to. If you love someone, you need to, yeah, there has to be compromise.
It was a lot of fun having, being together because we could go, we could just stop off someplace and you don't have to be home to meet her at home or anything like that. You're both together and you can say, hey, let's stop in Vegas or let's stop at Niagara Falls, or wherever. You can just decide to stop. It's like a vacation on the road if you, take the time to do it. But it can be rewarding, and it can be rewarding money wise too if you've got your husband wife team bringing in the big bucks.
Well, congratulations and kudos for going through that, and you made it out ahead in the end because you're still married, and you still have a pretty successful podcast, and you're still trucking on the road, so you still like what you're doing, seems like. So we really appreciate that advice on relationships on the road. And if you want to check out Todd's podcast or check out some of his ebooks, go to abouttruckdriving.com and check that out.
There you go.
Thank you, Todd, once more. And that's it for this Truck Boss Show. See you next time.